Love makes you do stupid things. Like ignoring the fact that your girlfriend's laugh sounds just a little too rehearsed, or that she always forgets to tag you in those couple photos. But hey, I'm Ewan, and 3 months ago, I thought I'd hit the jackpot with Bella. She was perfect, or, at least, she played the part well. Beautiful, witty, attentive in all the right ways. She'd bring me coffee in the mornings, smile like I hung the moon, and somehow manage to look effortlessly glamorous while casually lounging on her designer couch. We'd been dating for a blissful 90 days, give or take. Long enough for me to start thinking she might actually be the one. Then, one rainy Tuesday, I discovered the box. It was an accident, really. I wasn't snooping, despite what Bella would probably say if she ever told this story. I was looking for a towel in her hall closet and spotted a plain cardboard box shoved into the corner. Something about it felt off. Curiosity got the better of me, so I tugged it down, expecting old holiday decorations or maybe a stack of unused notebooks. Instead, I found letters. Lots of them. Each envelope was neatly labeled with a man's name, Jason, Adam, Nick. And that wasn't all. Underneath the letters were photographs, smiling selfies of Bella with various men, and gifts, a watch, a tie, even a small engraved bracelet. For a moment, I just stared, my brain scrambling to process what I was looking at. Bella came out of the bathroom then, towel drying her hair. "Ewan, what are you doing?" I turned slowly, holding up one of the letters. "What's this?" She froze, her smile faltering for a split second before she laughed, that same practiced sound I was starting to resent. "Oh, that? It's nothing. Just keepsakes." "Keepsakes," I repeated, setting the box down. "From old relationships," she added quickly, stepping closer. "You know how it is, sentimental value and all that." I didn't push her, not yet. But something in my chest shifted, like a loose puzzle piece finally snapping into place. For the rest of the evening, I played the part of the adoring boyfriend, but inside, I was already pulling away. Because no matter how perfect Bella seemed, one thing was clear, I wasn't her first. And something told me, I wouldn't be her last. People say hindsight is 20/20, but let me tell you, when your girlfriend has a box of letters from her exes labeled like it's a filing system, the blinders come off real quick. The day after I discovered the box, things felt different. Not for Bella, oh no, she was still her bubbly, charming self, making eggs with just the right amount of cheese and calling me babe like she hadn't just been caught red-handed. No, the difference was in me. I started noticing things I'd ignored before. First, there were the gifts. Bella's apartment looked like a luxury showroom, designer vases, a vintage record player, silk throw blankets that screamed, "Someone else paid for this." "Nice vase," I said casually one evening, pointing to an intricate ceramic piece on the coffee table. She glanced at it and smiled. "Oh, that? Just a little something I picked up at a market." "A market?" "Sure, Bella. Because local farmers are known for selling limited edition Lalique pieces." Then there was her phone. Bella had always been careful about it, keeping it face down on the table, silencing notifications during dinner. But now that I was paying attention, the little things stood out, the quick, furtive glances when a text came in, the way she angled the screen away from me. One night, I accidentally bumped her phone off the counter while reaching for a glass. "Whoops," I said, scooping it up and catching a glimpse of her lock screen, a text from Adam. She snatched it back so fast you'd think it was the launch codes. "Careful," she said, her tone light but her grip tight. "It's fragile." So was my patience. The tipping point came a week later. Bella had a work dinner and left me alone in her apartment for the evening. Big mistake. I wasn't planning on snooping. Truly, I wasn't. But the box was still there, tucked away in her closet, and it felt like it was staring at me, daring me to open it again. This time, I dug deeper. Inside, I found a small notebook, its pages filled with dates and details. Dinner with Jason. Bracelet from Nick. Weekend in the Hamptons with Adam. It was like reading someone's travel log, except instead of locations, it was men. And instead of memories, it was trophies. When Bella came home that night, she kissed me on the cheek and asked, "How's your evening?" "Enlightening," I said, smiling. She didn't notice the edge in my voice, too busy hanging up her coat and chatting about her exhausting dinner. But inside, I was already planning my next move. Because Bella didn't just have keepsakes, she had a system. And this time, the system was going to bite back. Here's the thing about revenge, it's not about anger. It's about precision. You can't just blow up someone's life and hope for the best, you have to craft it, sculpt it, like a fine piece of art. That's where I was, sitting in Bella's perfect, too-good-to-be-true apartment, planning my masterpiece. I started with her schedule. Bella was predictable in the most charmingly manipulative way. Every Wednesday was her yoga night, which I now knew was code for dinner with someone who wasn't me. Saturdays? Reserved for me, of course, because Saturdays are for the main act. She always made sure to leave her evenings open just long enough to juggle spontaneous plans. It was a dance, and she was the choreographer. But she didn't realize the audience had caught on. The next step was collecting my materials. I already had the photos, the notes, the names. What I needed now was a stage, somewhere to lay it all out. Somewhere public enough to make a point, but private enough that I wouldn't be the bad guy in the story Bella was undoubtedly going to spin. I chose her birthday. It was perfect, a dinner party she'd planned for weeks, full of friends, acquaintances, and maybe even a few of her trophies. She was excited, talking about it non-stop, blissfully unaware that the guest of honor was about to be unmasked. In the days leading up to the party, I played my role perfectly. "You're so thoughtful," she said one night, cuddling up to me on the couch. Not every guy would help plan his girlfriend's birthday. I kissed her forehead, smiling like a man who hadn't just scheduled a delivery of her infamous box to the restaurant. "You deserve the best," I said. And she did, just not the kind she thought. The night of the party arrived, and Bella was glowing, the star of her own show. She wore a stunning red dress and greeted every guest with a dazzling smile, including me. "You're amazing," she whispered, pulling me close. "I couldn't have done this without you." "Oh, you've done plenty," I replied, chuckling to myself. As dinner began and the wine flowed, I watched her revel in the attention, laughing and chatting like the queen of the room. She had no idea what was coming. Halfway through the meal, I stood up, tapping my glass for attention. "Everyone," I said, my voice calm but commanding, "I'd like to make a toast to Bella. She's been the most fascinating person I've ever known." She beamed at me, completely missing the edge in my tone. "But tonight," I continued, reaching under the table, "I thought I'd share something even more fascinating. A little piece of Bella's world." I placed the box on the table with a thud, and the room went silent. Bella's smile froze as she stared at it. "Ewan," she said softly, her voice laced with warning. "Go ahead," I said, gesturing toward it. "Show them." She didn't move, so I opened the lid myself. The letters, the photos, the gifts, it was all there, on display for everyone to see. Gasps rippled through the room as guests leaned in, their curiosity quickly turning to shock. "What is this?" someone asked. "Oh, just Bella's collection," I said, keeping my voice light. "Every man she's ever charmed, neatly archived." Bella's face flushed red, her carefully constructed composure crumbling. "Ewan, stop," she hissed, standing up. "Why?" I asked, tilting my head. "Don't you want them to see who you really are?" The room was silent, all eyes on her. Bella opened her mouth, but for once, she had no words. I picked up my glass, raising it in a mock toast. "Here's to Bella," I said. "The woman who collects people like souvenirs. May your next trophy be as blind as the rest of us were." I set the glass down, grabbed my coat, and walked out, leaving her to deal with the fallout. Walking out of that restaurant, I felt lighter than I had in weeks. It wasn't joy, exactly, more like the relief of finally dropping a weight you didn't realize you'd been carrying. Behind me, I could still hear the low hum of voices, the shock and murmurs as Bella's empire of lies crumbled in front of her carefully curated audience. Good riddance. Trevor, one of Bella's friends, well, acquaintances, because let's be honest, Bella didn't do actual friendship, caught up with me outside. Man, he said, lighting a cigarette with shaking hands. That was brutal. I shrugged. She earned it. Trevor exhaled a cloud of smoke, nodding. Can't argue with that. But you do realize she's going to spin this, right? Make herself out to be the victim? Let her try, I said, smirking. I'm done caring about her narrative. The next morning, I woke up to my phone buzzing nonstop. Predictably, Bella had taken her version of events to social media. Her post was a masterclass in emotional manipulation, complete with a black and white photo of her looking tearfully out a window. Sometimes, the people you trust the most are the ones who hurt you the deepest. Healing starts now. The comments were just as nauseating. Stay strong, Bella. You deserve so much better, Queen. Men are trash. I couldn't help but laugh. She was nothing if not consistent. What Bella didn't realize, though, was that I wasn't finished. While she was busy curating sympathy, I was quietly working on my next move. Inspired by the chaos she'd created, I poured all my anger, confusion, and, let's face it, heartbreak into something productive. My laptop became my therapist, the cursor blinking at the top of a blank page. And before I knew it, I was writing. Once upon a time, there was a woman who collected people like souvenirs. Weeks turned into months, and the story practically wrote itself. Bella's lies, her calculated charm, her trophy box, all of it became fodder for what would eventually become my debut novel. I changed the names, of course, but anyone who knew her would see the resemblance. I'd be lying if I said it wasn't satisfying. Then came the day that changed everything. 1 year after the infamous dinner, my book hit the shelves. It didn't just sell well, it exploded. Articles, interviews, book signings. I was suddenly that guy, the one who turned heartbreak into a bestseller. Bella, predictably, found out. It didn't take long for her to reach out. Ewan, her message read, "Congratulations on the book. I just wish you'd talk to me first. This feels cruel." Cruel? Coming from her? The irony nearly killed me. I didn't reply. The final nail in the coffin came when a mutual friend sent me a screenshot, Bella's photo on a dating app, with a bio that read, "Looking for something real this time." I couldn't stop laughing. Real? Bella wouldn't know real if it hit her in the face. And me? I was finally free, standing on the other side of the mess she'd created, stronger, smarter, and, most importantly, done with her for good. A year ago, I walked out of that restaurant feeling shattered but resolute. Now, as I stared at the stack of books with my name on the cover, I realized something. Bella might have been the storm, but I was the one who rebuilt after it. The day my book hit the bestseller list was surreal. Calls from publishers, emails from fans, even a feature on a morning talk show. Everyone wanted to know how I'd turned heartbreak into such a biting, honest, and darkly funny story. It's cathartic, I told one interviewer, keeping my answer vague. Sometimes life gives you lemons, and sometimes it gives you someone like Bella. Speaking of Bella, it didn't take long for the book to find its way to her. She didn't reach out right away, but when she finally did, her message was a mix of wounded pride and thinly veiled manipulation. I read your book. I guess congratulations are in order, but was it necessary to make me the villain? I stared at the message for a moment before typing back. Villain? I thought you'd enjoy being the star. Then I blocked her number. For good. I celebrated the book's success quietly. No big parties, no over-the-top toasts. Just a quiet evening with a few close friends, including Trevor, who'd become something of a permanent fixture in my life. You really did it, man, Trevor said, raising his glass. You turned her games into gold. I clinked my glass against his. Here's to moving on. And I did move on. In the months that followed, I found a new rhythm. I wrote more, traveled more, even dated a little, cautiously this time, with my eyes wide open. The scars Bella left? They didn't disappear overnight, but they faded, and in their place grew something stronger, the realization that I didn't need her, or anyone like her, to be whole. The final page of her chapter in my life came one evening while scrolling through social media. A friend had tagged me in a post, Bella's engagement announcement. "When you know," her caption read, accompanied by a picture of her and some poor guy grinning on a beach. I laughed, not out of bitterness, but because it didn't matter anymore. Bella could keep playing her games, but I wasn't a part of them. I closed the app, leaned back in my chair, and opened a fresh document on my laptop. Because the best revenge isn't anger or even success. It's living a life so good, you don't have time to think about the people who tried to break you. Subscribe to never miss a new story and discover even more captivating tales.